If you're editing in DaVinci Resolve where you've had multiple cameras recording at the same time, then you're definitely going to want to check out the multicam features because it's going to make your life a million times easier, I promise. Let's head into Resolve and I'll show you what I mean. If you're not using multicam, you might be doing something like this, where you're dragging multiple video files on top of each other on a timeline and then trying to sync them all up. And then you're editing between these by cutting, deleting the camera angles that you don't want. This is a terrible way to edit with multiple cameras recording at the same time. It just makes it really hard to go and change things later on. Let me show you how to set up a multicam edit. Select the video files that we're recording at the same time, right click and choose Create New Multicam Clip using selected clips. This is going to create a brand new clip in the media pool which we can use to edit with. So you can give this a name. You need to select a frame rate for the new clip. All of these clips were shot at 24 frames a second. And then importantly, you need to choose how all of these clips are going to be synchronized together. So we've got these multiple video files from multiple cameras, but we need some way of lining them up in time so that when we switch between the angles, we're not going forwards or backwards in time. In a more complicated or professional setup, these video files will be using time code, and that makes things a bit easier. But if you aren't editing with clips that are using timecode, the next best method is usually to try and sync with the audio that's been recorded in each of the separate cameras. In this case, we don't have timecode, so we're going to choose sound. Next, you need to choose which channel of the audio DaVinci Resolve is going to try and match up the sound for between the different cameras. Normally this works okay with channel 1, but if you're having trouble creating a multicam clip with audio, you can also try mix or automatic. Let's choose channel 1 for now. DaVinci Resolve 20 introduced this new option. This lets you choose a reference audio track, but in this example we're going to keep things simple and we're going to choose source audio channels. Next up, we get to choose what the angle names are going to be for the multicam clip, and this just helps you to keep track of things when you're actually editing. If you've set up custom metadata for your camera clips, you can use these things, or you can choose to use the clip names or file names. I'm going to leave this as sequential for the moment. At the minute, all of these 3 clips are in this bin here, and if you want DaVinci Resolve to automatically move these clips to an original clips bin that it will create, you can check this box. I'm going to leave that unchecked because I don't want things moving around. There's also some advanced options such as detecting clips from the same camera by different types of metadata. I'm not going to use that here. So now we can go and hit create, and DaVinci Resolve is going to analyze those video clips and it's going to try and match up the audio so it knows what point in time each part of that clip is. And you can see here it's created this demo multicam clip. If you double click on this, it's going to open it up in the source viewer, and now we have our 3 angle names: angle 1, angle 2 and angle 3. Okay, now we've created the multicam clip. Let me show you how to actually edit with it and how much easier it is. You could right click on this multicam clip and choose create new timeline using selected clips, just like a regular clip. But if you've got a timeline open, you can just drag it into the timeline. The first thing you're going to want to do is change the audio type of this audio 1 track. If the cameras were all recording in stereo, then you might want to leave this as stereo or 2.0, but if all of the cameras were only recording using mono microphones, you might want to come down here, right click on audio 1 and change the track type to mono. Let's close the media pool to give us a bit more space, and we'll click here to open up both the source viewer on the left and the timeline viewer on the right. And at the minute, if I scroll through this, you can see that we've just got 1 camera angle being used at the minute. We want to change the source viewer to multicam view. To do that, click this little drop down box and choose multicam. I've actually set up a custom shortcut here because I use it so much. Just click on multicam, this icon changes, and now if I scroll through the timeline, you can see those multicam angles are changing in the source viewer. So because this is a single clip on the timeline, we can use all of our normal editing shortcuts and procedures to chop this thing up and get the edit looking like we want to. The advantage is at any point we can switch the camera angles to different camera views. This is the intro that you just saw at the start of this video, so let's go and chop this up. Editing in DaVinci Resolve where you've had multiple So we can just go and start using our regular editing. I'm going to use Control Shift and left square bracket to trim the start of that, Control plus to zoom in, and now we can choose which of the camera angles we want to start this edit with. There's a few different ways to change camera angles. You can hold down Control Shift and then use the left and right arrow keys, and you can see now that this allows you to change between the camera angles. As I'm changing these, watch what's happening down here. It's telling us the camera angle that's being used in the actual clip names, both for the video and audio parts. We're going to start off the edit with this main camera angle. If you're editing in DaVinci Resolve, where at this point I look at camera 2, so this is a good place to switch, and there's a few different ways to do this. If I hover my mouse over the source viewer, you can see we get this razor blade icon, and that allows us to cut to a different camera angle. In this case, I'm going to click on angle 2, and now down in the timeline you can see we've got this edit point added where you've had multiple cameras but I just want you to listen to what's happening here. Resolve where you've had multiple cameras recorded. You can hear the change in the audio there, and that's because by default when you switch a camera angle it's going to switch both the picture, the video, and the audio to that new camera angle, and that's not always what you want. If I zoom in, you can see down here that the audio for this first clip is angle 3 and the audio for this second clip is angle 2. We're changing the audio source and the video source. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to undo that, and you can use these 3 buttons here to choose how you want these edits to happen. By default it's lit up with this icon, and this is going to change both the picture and the audio, or the video and the audio. If you just want to switch the video but not the audio, click this so it's selected. If you just want to change the audio but not the video, click this button. In this case I just want to switch the video because the main good audio is coming from angle 3, and that's the angle, this angle here, where I'm also using this microphone to capture the best audio. So now we've selected that option, we can position the playhead and once again choose the camera angle to cut to. We're going to cut to angle 2, click here, and now you can see that we've just cut the video part but not the audio part. DaVinci Resolve where you've had and we no longer get that shift in the audio because the audio hasn't changed. Let's undo that with Ctrl Z, and I want to show you an alternative way of cutting and chopping things up, and it's actually the way I use, and I find it to be a lot more useful, especially when it comes to modifying the cuts later on. So I'm still going to leave this set to video only, so we're only going to change the video angle, but what I actually do is I do my editing and camera angle switching kind of at the same time. So I want to choose a point to switch to camera 2, and then I use Control B on the keyboard to make the cut. So we haven't actually changed camera angles here. Resolve where you've had we just made a normal cut like we would cut any video clip, and then with the playhead over this part that I've just cut into, I use Control Shift and left and right on the keyboard to change the angle. So we want to change to angle 2. You can see down here that the audio is still coming from angle 3, so that hasn't changed. If you're editing in DaVinci Resolve where you've had multiple and we get a nice smooth cut there between the 2 camera angles. Let's add another one there, hit Control B to cut that, and you don't even have to move the playhead because technically it's over this 3rd clip at the minute. Choose the next angle, MULTICAM features, Control B, and we'll change back to angle 3. And this is what it looks like. If you're editing in DaVinci Resolve where you've had multiple cameras recording at the same time, then you're definitely going to want to check out the multicam features because it's going to make you can see how super quick and easy that is. But what happens if you change your mind and you actually want a different camera angle? Let's say for this clip we actually want angle 1, which you can either position the playhead and use the Control Shift left right arrows to change, or you can right click, come to switch multicam clip angle, and then choose between angle 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to click on angle 1, and you can see down here that we've got angle 1 displayed in the clip itself. To Resolve where you've had multiple cameras recording, but you can hear there that we actually got the audio switch again, even though we've got this item highlighted. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to undo that. Instead what you can do is hold down Alt and click just the video or just the audio part. With just the video part selected, right click and come to switch multicam clip angle, and now we can change just the video part by clicking angle 1. You can see down here that the audio is not changing, but the video is now changing, and you can do the same thing, hold down Alt, click just the audio part, come to switch multicam clip angle and just switch the audio part. The final thing I want to show you is how to customize the display of the multicam source viewer. By default, we get 4 angles. So if we had a 4th camera recording, it would be there. Click this drop down arrow and you can choose the kind of grid that you want to see if you've got even more cameras recording. So for example, you could go for a 3x3 grid, 4x4, or even 5x5 if you've got a lot of cameras recording at the same time. I'm just going to use the default. Here we've got an existing multicam clip and it's being used in this timeline down here. If we want to change these angle names of an existing multicam clip, right click on the multicam clip in the media pool and choose open in timeline. These are all the camera angles inside the multicam clip, and now you can simply click on an angle name and then rename the angle, and you only have to rename either the video or the audio portion. It's automatically going to sync up. Osmo Pocket 3 and A7S3. If we come back to our timeline, we've now got our angle names in the source viewer and also in the clip names. To add a new angle, right click on the multicam clip and choose open in timeline. Right click here and choose add angle, left click and give this angle a name if you want to, and then go and find the footage that you want to add to that camera angle and just drag it on top onto your new angle. You're going to have to sync up this new camera angle with the existing ones, so you can either do this by eye if you've got something like these clap syncs, or you can select the new clip, select another angle, right click and choose auto align clips. Choose either timecode or waveform depending on whether or not you've got timecode in these clips, and click sync. DaVinci Resolve will match up the timing. Now if you come back to your timeline, we've now got 3 angles, including this new Osmo Pocket 3 angle that we can now switch to. If you're editing a video in DaVinci Resolve where you've got multiple cameras recording at the same time, but one of those cameras was being turned on and off, currently this camera is off. I'm going to go and hit record. This camera might be a roving camera. Say there's a wedding and you might have a wide shot set up filming the whole reception or the whole wedding, and you might have 1 or more mobile cameras just being moved around the scene. These cameras are going to be turned off and on at various points during the wedding. So you need some way, just hit record again, to sync up all of these cameras when you're creating a multicam clip. Here's the main camera angle that was recording the whole time, and these 3 are those 3 separate ones that were just recording for short bursts. If I try and select all of these and right click and go and create a new multicam clip, and I'm going to choose to sync on sound because we don't have time code in these cameras. I'm going to leave all of these other settings as they are and hit create. If I right click on this new multicam clip and open it in the timeline, DaVinci Resolve has done a pretty good job. We've got this main angle and we've got these 3 other clips. The problem is at the minute they're all on separate angles. Really, we probably just want them all to be on one angle. But this is really easy to fix. Just select the clip, hold down shift and then drag it down. Holding down shift will make sure it doesn't move left and right. We'll do the same thing here. Click, hold down shift, drag down. We can now delete these empty angles by right clicking and choosing delete unused angles. And now let's go and create a new timeline from this multicam clip. So here's our multicam clip in the timeline. Let's go and make a quick edit. You can see at some points the multicam clip just has a black box for angle 1. That's the period where that camera was not recording. So we'll start off with angle 4. We'll switch to angle 1, and then at some point we'll stop recording on that camera and switch back to this angle. I want to show you a slightly more advanced version next, but one that's really useful if you've got a lot of those shorter, smaller clips. We saw that we get a new angle created for each of those recordings for that second camera. If you've got 20, 30, 40 separate recordings, you don't really want to have to go and make all of those changes to 40 multicam tracks. We need to come over to the media pool and we're going to have a look at the properties for these clips. I'm going to switch to list view. We want to give DaVinci Resolve some kind of information about the fact that these 3 shorter clips should all be on the same multicam angle track. I'll just show you first of all, if we right click and choose create new multicam clip, we've got this option down here to detect clips from the same camera, and we can use camera angle, camera number, reel number, name and roll card number to help DaVinci Resolve understand that this was actually the same camera and not needing to go on multiple angle tracks. So what we need to do is we need to be able to use one of these things. Just going to hit cancel, and if I scroll across by default, we don't get those things. I'm going to right click on the header and I'm going to check camera number. We'll now get this column with camera number, and this is currently empty for all of these clips. Let's select this first clip. This is the angle that was recording the whole time. Just going to close the audio section. Click on this drop down. and choose all groups. Scroll down until you see camera number. Let's just call this A-cam. And now you can see here that we've got that metadata set. Let's go and do the same thing for all of these 3 clips. Select them all, tick camera, and we'll call this B-cam. Resolve will ask us if we want to apply that to multiple clips, so we'll click apply, and now we've got B-cam for these 3 clips. We can now go and create the new multicam clip. This time choose detect clips from same camera and make sure we select camera number and hit create. If we open up this new multicam clip in a timeline, we've now got our 3 separate clips, but this time they're already on just a single angle, all ready for us to edit with. I'm filming this video using this camera and also this camera, and I'm also using this microphone. This records internal audio which we can use in a multicam setup. Let's head into Resolve and I'll show you how to do that. Here's that main camera angle, here's that B camera angle, and here's that external audio file. I'm currently recording. Let's go and create a multicam clip from all of these files. Going to right click all of them, including the external audio file, and we'll go and create a new multicam clip using selected clips. We'll give it a name, and we're going to choose sound to sync these 3 files on. And for multicam audio, I'm going to choose reference audio angle 1. If we wanted to, we could use different angle names. I'm just going to leave this as sequential, so we get angle 1 and 2. And I'm going to uncheck this because I don't want things moving around. And hit create. If we right click on this new multicam clip that was created and open it in the timeline, it's taken this first clip, which is camera angle 1, and then it's used the scratch audio in camera angle 1 and the scratch audio in camera angle 2. But if you look down here, both of these audio files have come from that external audio recorder file. That means if we switch between these 2 angles when we're editing, we're going to get exactly the same audio, the audio from the external audio recorder. But if that's not what you want, let me show you a different option. We'll open up the media pool and we'll select the 3 clips again, choose create new multicam clip. We'll call it multicam 2, we'll still sync on sound, but this time we're just going to choose source audio channels and not reference audio angle 1. We'll click that and click create. And if we open up this second multicam clip that we just created, we've got a different multicam setup now. We've still got our main angle and our B camera. For the main angle, if we switch to this and we want the audio from this, we've got it down here. If we want the B camera and the audio that was recorded with the B camera, we've got this angle. And if we just want an audio only angle with the audio from that recorder, we can switch to angle 1. Don't forget though that you can customize your multicam clips even after you've created them. So if you wanted to, you could hold down Alt, click this clip and drag it down, and now angle 1 will contain the picture from the A camera and the audio from the external audio recorder. When you're creating multicam setups in DaVinci Resolve, there's definitely some creation options that you need to know just to make your life easier. I'm going to show you how all of the major multicam creation options work. Let's get into it. Here we've got 3 camera angles and we're going to right click, choose create new multicam clip using selected clips. The first option you've got here is the starting time code. By default this is 1 hour, but if you want to change this you can change it to 0 if you prefer. This doesn't really matter that much. Next up we've got the frame rate. Ideally all of your footage will have been shot at the same frame rate. If it's not, then you're going to have to make a decision here about how things are going to look and work, but mixed frame rates aren't the topic of this video, so I'm going to choose 23.976 because that's what all 3 video files were shot in. One of the most important ones is this angle sync option. There's 5 different ways we can tell DaVinci Resolve to match up all of these 3 camera angles so they're all playing at the same time. And if you get this wrong, when you cut between the different camera angles, you're going to be shifting forwards and backwards in time, which is definitely not what you want. You can sync on the in points of each of these clips if you've set in points, and similarly you can sync on out points. If all of the 3 cameras had been using synced up time code, we could use that. And time code is usually for more professional setups, so if you're working on one of those setups you can use time code of course, but in a lot of cases you might be editing videos where there wasn't time code and you have to sync in a different way. Normally that's going to be with sound sync. With sound sync all of the cameras have to be recording audio, not necessarily the best quality audio, so you might have one camera that has a proper microphone set up and that camera angle is going to contain the nice audio sound, but the other two cameras are still recording audio. We call it scratch audio. They just record that scratch audio as a way of syncing up those camera angles when we're editing. The final option is marker, and this lets you set a marker in each of the individual clips from the different cameras, and then you can sync using those manually set markers. If you choose sound, then you're going to need to choose the audio channel from each camera. Channel 1 and 2 are usually the left and right stereo signals. If you're having problems, you can tell DaVinci Resolve to mix both channels together and use that mix to try and line up the clips, or you can just set this to automatic to let DaVinci Resolve do its thing. Normally, unless you've got some kind of weird setup, channel 1 works fine. We'll look at the other options in just a second, but I want to show you how a couple of these angle sync options work, just so you've got some options when things go wrong. Sometimes you might be editing a video and you're trying to create a multicam setup, but maybe one of the cameras didn't record any scratch audio. Maybe the settings were messed up or the volume was so low. In that case, you're going to have to tell DaVinci Resolve how to use a manual sync point that you select, and marker is one of the ways we can do this. Before we can use this marker option, we've got to go and do a little bit of setup work first. So I'm just going to come here and click cancel. What we need to do is open up each of the 3 camera angles and set a marker. So I'm just double clicking on this first camera angle, and ideally you'll have a clap sync where someone on camera is clapping or using a slate to give you a good sound and visual matching point. But if there was no clapping involved, you need to find another part of the video to sync on. This has to be something that all 3 angles can see. So for example, you can see I'm touching my nose, and you can use the left and right buttons on the keyboard to move frame by frame to get a really accurate spot. Once you've found that, you need to hit M on the keyboard to set a marker. I just move the playhead out of the way. We've got this little blue dot down here, and that's a marker for this clip. Next, we need to open up the second video file, scroll through this. There's me touching my nose again. Hit M to set a marker on that second clip, and you can see it down there. And we'll do the same thing for this third camera angle. And now we've got markers set on all of these 3 clips. We can select them all, choose create new multicam clip, make sure that we set the angle sync to marker, and then hit create. If we double click the multicam clip to open it up in the source viewer, and if we scroll through it, we should see all 3 angles in sync now, which we do. And we can just go and create a new timeline from that, switch over to multicam and edit it as normal. Well, I'm just going to delete that timeline and the multicam clip, and I'll show you those other options. The in-angle sync method is very similar to the marker, but instead of adding a marker with M on the keyboard, you can use I on the keyboard to set an in point in each of those video files. All right, let's move on to the multicam audio settings. Source audio channels just match up the audio files that are contained within each video file, so you can switch the audio channels if you want to when you switch camera angles. Reference audio angle 1 allows you to use an external audio file as a reference audio, and that audio file will be used for all of the angles. And adaptive tracks is a more complicated option. I'll be covering that in a future video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. When we created that last multicam clip, we used this sequential option for angle name, and all that does is it just assigns a sequential number, so you've got angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and so on. Sometimes you might want a more descriptive angle name, and that's where these options come in handy. If you want to use the physical file name of these clips as the angle names when you switch them, you can set this to file name. At the minute, the clip names and the file names are actually matching. What we could do is just cancel this. We could go and rename this A camera, and then rename this B camera, and so on. Just going to undo that. Sometimes you might not want to do that, especially if you've got lots of clips, or if you've got lots of shorter clips that are starting and ending. You're not going to be able to use that method. For example, if you've got one main camera and you've got a second camera that's just been stopping and starting recording throughout the event. Let me show you another option, and that's to use metadata. You can see we've got this other option, metadata angle or metadata camera. This allows us to use metadata built into those clips, or set the metadata ourselves. Let me show you how to use the metadata angle version. Let's cancel this, and we're going to come over to the media page, and these are our 3 clips. Just right click on this top bar and make sure you've got this angle checkbox ticked. When I tick this and come back here, we've now got this angle column. We can click on this angle column, click again, and choose a camera angle. You can type in anything you want here. I'm just going to keep it simple with A. Click here and click again. Type B, click here, click again, and type C. Now, when you create your multicam clip and choose angle name metadata angle, or just go and create this and I'll show you what it does. If we open this up, now we've got angle A, angle B, and angle C for the angle names. And these will also appear if you edit with this multicam clip. Let me show you some other options. If you want DaVinci Resolve to move these 3 clips to a new sub bin called original clips, you can tick this option. I normally turn this off because I don't like things being moved around all the time, but if you've got a lot of clips and you're syncing them all up, you might want to choose this option just so you're left with the multicam clip and then everything under that original folder automatically organized for you. And this last advanced option is detect clips from same camera. If I tick this box becomes enabled, and then you get to choose the metadata that you want to detect. This is really useful if you've got that scenario where you've had multiple shorter clips recording at the same time as one long clip. So the main camera recording here, I could have been starting and stopping recording on a handheld camera, for example. I've got an entire video on how to do that, so I'm not going to go over that again here. Because I've got this checkbox ticked, if I hit create, we now get this original clip's been created. We've got the new multicam clip, and if I open this up, here's our original 3 clips. Color grading multicam clips can seem a bit tricky at first, but I've got 3 ways to do it from beginner to pro. Let's start off with method 1. Here we've got a timeline using a multicam clip, and we've got these different angles changing. Method 1 is a beginner method. It's easy and quick, but it doesn't offer you as much control. Switch over to the color page. We'll start with this first angle. We'll just make a few basic changes. Come over to HDR and we'll go and increase the exposure. To make it clear what's happening, I'm also going to give this a crazy color cast. Now what we can do is find the other multicam clips where this angle is being used. This is the same angle. We can just copy the grades from this first one. With this clip selected, hover your mouse over this clip that we just graded and press your mouse scroll wheel or mouse middle button, and that's going to copy the grade, and you can see it down here. You can also select multiple clips and copy. We've only got one more of this one. Just going to click the middle button or the mouse wheel on my mouse to copy that grade. Let's do the same thing for this angle. We'll just change the exposure and we'll give this crazy purple cast. Click all of the other angles that are the same. Middle mouse, click on this one, and now all of those have got that crazy grade. And we'll do the same thing for this one. And you can see now we've got all of those angles with those crazy colors. Okay, let's move on to method 2, the intermediate method, and that's to color grade the underlying multicam clip. We'll head back to the edit page, open up the media pool, find the multicam clip, right click, and choose Open in Timeline. This is going to open up that multicam clip in the timeline down here, and here we've got the 3 video files that make up the 3 camera angles. Switch over to the color page, and now we can just grade the source of these 3 camera angles independently. Make that one pink, make that one green, and make that one blue. Head back to the edit page. We've still got that multicam clip open in the timeline. But now when we edit with this multicam clip, you can see in the timeline that color grade flows through to the timeline. And let's say you had a special case in one of these clips that you just wanted to modify. You can come back to the color page and you can add another grade. So this is going to take what was set in the multicam clip and then change it. So let's just go and change the contrast. It's not going to affect the other clips in the timeline that use that same camera angle. You can see here we've got the contrast and here no contrast, because now in this clip we've got the grade that we applied to the multicam and the grade that we applied to the clip in the timeline. All right, on to method 3, and this is more of a pro approach. Let me show you how it works. We'll head back to the edit page and we'll open up our timeline that uses these multicam clips. The first thing you're going to want to do in this approach is back up the timeline. You can do that by right-clicking on it and choosing duplicate timeline. You need to do this. You can see we've got the duplicate copy here, because what we're going to do is actually take the timeline, remove all of the multicam clips by flattening them, and that's going to give us access to the underlying clips. So here's our backup. Make sure you're opening the original one. The reason we take a backup is because you can't undo this operation. Select everything, right click on any one of these clips with them all selected, come up here and choose flatten multicam clip. If you had set grades in the multicam clip itself, you could copy those to the flattened clips, or if you'd already done some color grading in the separate angles, you can retain them here. We haven't done either of these things because we reset all the grades, so I'm just going to copy multicam grades. And now look what's happened down in the timeline. We're no longer dealing with multicam clips here. It's replaced the multicam clip with the underlying part of the video file that represented that camera angle. That means we can no longer switch switch over to multicam view, and you can see we've got no camera angles we can switch between now because these are no longer multicam clips. But what that does mean is that we can go and use our regular color grading methods. Maybe we come to the color page, we could select one of the angles, come up to the clip filter, choose common media pool source, just so we get all of the clips that belong to that underlying file, select them all, and either copy and paste grades or do something like create a new group. And now because they're part of a group, we can go and use the group pre-clip or the group post-clip to make changes to everything in this group. And because they're all part of that group, all of the clips that use that underlying file, because they're part of the group, here's one of them, here's two of them, here's three of them, will all now be color graded the same. You can switch back to all clips and you could add these ones into their own group. The benefit of doing this is that you can just use those groups, and whatever you change in those groups will affect all of that clips using that camera angle. The downside of this approach is, as we already saw, if you switch back to the edit page, we no longer have the ability to switch between camera angles unless we go and re-import the multicam clip and match it up to that part of the timeline and then switch the angle and then flatten it again. So if you're going to use this approach, then I highly recommend that you make sure your edit and your cuts are basically finished before you move on to this color grading process using approach 3. I've never seen anyone on YouTube or in the forums talking about this method I'm about to show you. It allows you to color grade multicam clips in the color page and sort them by the underlying multicam angle. That means you can select multicam angles, assign them to groups, and group them like you would any other clips. Let me just show you what the problem is first. You come into the color page, I've got this multicam timeline. You can see down here, we've just got multicam clip, multicam clip, multicam clip, and if we come up to the clip filter, there's no way to select a filter, so we can just choose only the clips from different angles. And even if you come to create smart filter, you can come to media pool properties. Nowhere do we have the angle name that we can actually use. Even if we do find the angle name and try and apply this filter, it's actually not going to work. I want to show you the workaround that I've created now for this. It just requires one extra tiny little step, which takes about 10 seconds. Come back to the edit page, and what you're going to need to do is use this free script that I'll put a link to in the video description. Open up this script, and you need to select two things at the top here. The first is the angle, and the second is the color. Coming back to DaVinci Resolve, I'm just going to zoom in, and we've got these multicam clips. It's telling us angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3, and these could be anything depending on how you've set your multicam clip up. It could be A cam, B cam, whatever. Let's go and take angle 1 as an example. You need to change this to angle 1 and then choose a color here. The color doesn't really matter that much, but here's a list of valid colors you can choose from. Just to show you this in action, I'm going to copy the word orange and paste it down here. Once you've done that, hit Ctrl-A, select everything, and copy that to the clipboard. Head back to DaVinci Resolve, come up to Workspace, come down and choose Console. Make sure this is set to Lua, click here, and then paste in that script and hit Enter. And watch what happens in the timeline. You can see all of the multicam clips that come from angle 1 have been changed to orange. Change this to angle 2, choose another color, we'll choose teal, select and copy, head back to Resolve, open up the console, paste that in, hit Enter, and you can just do this for all of the different camera angles that you've got. Just be sure to change target text and the clip color, paste, hit Enter. Now all of the angles have different colors. We can simply come back to the color page, come up to the clips filter, come down to clip color, and then choose that angle based on color. So if we select orange, you can see now all of these clips are for the same camera angle. That means we can select them all, right click, and go and add them into a new group. Forget exactly which angle this was. I think this was angle 3. Change back to all clips. Make sure we're on either the group pre-clip or group post-clip. And then if we make a change, let's just ram that red, come back to the timeline. Now all of the angles will have that color grade applied, and you can repeat the process for the other colors for the other angles. Of course, you might want to change angles in the future, and I'll show you how to do that. Say we wanted to switch this camera angle from angle 3 to angle 2. You'd need to come to the color page, make sure that clip's selected, right click on just that single clip, choose remove from group, which will also remove the color grade because it's no longer in that group. Come back to the edit page and then switch that camera angle. Let's change it to angle 1. But notice, just because we changed the angle, we don't automatically inherit that. You could either run the script again with the right settings, or you could manually change the clip color to match, come back to the color page, choose clip color orange. Now we've got this clip that's not part of that group, but we can just right click on it, choose groups, and choose the angle we want to add it to, assign to group. And now it's going to, once again, have the correct color grade for that angle. Please subscribe for loads more DaVinci Resolve tips and tricks. I'm Jason Roberts, this is DaVinci Dojo, and I'll see you in the next one.